Welcome to Norwegian Modeling Bench. This is Kenneth, and this is the 21st installment on the build series on the CV-6 USS Enterprise. So in this one I am finalizing the island. I am building up the tripod mast, the directors, the radars, and also doing weathering and rigging of the island, making it ready for installment on the ship. So I hope that you like this one. Please subscribe, push the like button, and do give me any comments if you like. I do appreciate that. So enjoy. So as indicated, the work starts out with the tripod mast platform, using the island as a template, so I get the correct angles on those legs or beams. Then there is two platforms on this one, and these have kind of houses on them for the crew. And these are, well, a couple of bend operations that you need to do. So I'm using a bending plier and carefully bending them into the correct angles, using the braces going on the outside as a guide in the beginning to get the correct angle, and then using the plier on both sides of the bend so you don't get any misalignments and stresses on those tiny window sills that would be a bit, well, the result wouldn't be as good at least. And then using the platform itself to check if the fit is good, and then of course using thin CA glue to bond the parts together. You should of course finalize those railings, or I'm not sure what the name would really be, before adding those braces. There are also a lot of other tiny parts going on afterwards, and those would definitely be in the way for this kind of work. So I would suggest this sequence at least. Again, using CA, thin CA to bond and install those railings, I guess we can call them. Please provide me with a better name. And then just pushing those braces into place and using thin CA. Then I've placed the tripod mast again on top of the island to place the stairs so they get in the correct angle and touch the floor. So I thought this was the best approach to do that, because placing it on something else, that wouldn't give you the same distance because of those tags sticking out of the legs. And then it's the upper platform, and I noticed that the brass part is not long enough. So I had to omit some of the details on the underside of the girders to be able to fit this. And again, then placing it on the island while I am adjusting the position. It is possible to get this a bit skewed, and mine is skewed a bit to the left seen from the front, but all in all quite good. Then the top platform is in place, and I am starting out with the radar. This is probably where I could add some piano music, but I won't. There is a lot of tiny parts, and the sequence is definitely very important to get a good result. And as you can see, I'm also using a bending tool, which is quite handy for these delicate parts. Then there are this stand, which is in brass. So again, all of these island PE and brass parts are from the Pontos set. Unfortunately, I haven't been using too much of the KA set. I'm a bit disappointed about the KA set, to be honest, but I will be using some of the parts for the upcoming installment, where I will be working on those boats that's included in that one. So yeah, continuing with the radar, and again, I'm using a lot of thin CA glue, as you probably have noticed, and the reason for that is that you avoid all of those lumps that you otherwise would get. So I think that's a good way to do it, at least. And I haven't gotten any issues when with parts popping off or anything like that, because I'm using so much of the thin CA. But of course, also using a regular CA when assembling. And I think that the radar is really nice. It's got a lot of nice details, and it's actually quite easy to assemble. One of the easiest that I've been encountered, at least before. But yeah, you might of course find it difficult. But again, if you try to dry fit a lot and get the correct angles, be patient, and you will definitely get a good result as well. I'm at least happy with this one. So then I am connecting the base to the radar before I assemble the last part. And again, this is also where a bending tool comes in handy. Because those tiny parts, bending them out using any other tool would be quite difficult without bending the entire part. And then attaching that to the other one, and well, as I usually do, I used reverse tweezers to place it and hold it in place, so I could fasten the first points with some thin CA before doing the rest. And again, use some pressure to get the parts together. So that was then the end result, and ready for priming and painting. And then we have the directors. I've not made any video of assembling those. I might do for such parts later, but I guess I don't know if you're that interested in seeing all of the build details. But if you like so, please give me a comment. And then it's the searchlights, and I think this is a really nice one. You also, as I will show later, get the glass for these ones, and they are actually glass. As far as I could recognize when using the tweezers to tap on it, then it's got that gloss sound. I'm also painting the inside in a silver color. I think that the reflectors inside the searchlights would probably be in such a color and not the dark one as I've seen other using. It doesn't really make sense in my head, at least. It might have been like that, but I can't understand why it should be black. It needs to reflect the light and not reflect the light. There are some tiny parts going on here, but all in all, it really gives a good impression of the details on the searchlight itself. So this is the end result before priming and painting the part. So then starting to assemble the main mast on the tripod mast. So it all now starts to look good with all those details, railings, the loudspeakers, and also the yard arms. So then it is the crane that is going on the backside. I've built now all of those gun tubs and the crane as I'm working on here. So we are now more or less ready with the bigger parts for the build. So that's a milestone in itself. I think that this crane is really nice. It has a lot of nice details, and when you compare it to reference photos, it is a perfect match, I would say. And it's quite an easy build. Just be sure that you got the alignments correct, so you get the crane arm or crane boom correctly in place. So this is how the end result looks, and we will see that later on when installing. And then it's priming up all the parts. Again, I don't know if you would like to see this in the videos, but I think it's part of the process. It's one of the steps. And I'm using the Extreme primer from KA. I think that is a really good primer for both metal and plastic parts. Then adding the deck blue on all horizontal surfaces before masking those up after 24 hours of curing, before adding the navy blue color. And you should definitely wait 24 hours, otherwise you would probably end up peeling off the paint when removing the masking tape. And then it's time to install those glasses in the searchlights. So I'm using Transpa 6K from VMS, which dries clear, and it's very easy to remove using their universal. Well, I just forgot the name. Yes, and here you can also see that I have painted up the inside of the searchlights. So I think that the end result is quite nice, at least, but you might be the judge of that. So here you can see them installed, and here I'm also installing a MK director. Actually used a KA one for that. I don't know why Pontos only provides 5, because there should be 6. So time to glue on the tripod mast and platform. So getting all of those in place, and then it's time to install those directors. And this is quite difficult, actually. It's it's not a big point to balance the director on. So you might need a couple of attempts. Certainly I did, but after a couple of tries, it all went fine. And I think those directors are looking really, really nice, and definitely very similar to the prototype, as can be seen on photos of the ship. And yeah, they were actually quite nice to assemble. And then it's the radar, pretty simple installation. Just put it into the hole in the upper platform, and then applying some thin CA, and it's all good and dandy. So then it's time to weather, and of course, as you might see, there is a bit of a sheen, and that is from the gloss varnish. and I'm using Tamiya panel liner to add some depth to all of those nice details on doors, portholes, wires, and so on. And then using a slightly moist cotton bud, so moist with white spirit or mineral spirit, to remove the excess. And also using some parts I also used a brush with damped in white spirit. And then adding some white streaks, so you will find these products that I've used also on the installment about the hull weathering. And then some grime to add to places where you probably usually see those running off the ship. And it might seem exaggerated, but it looks good. And then it's time to add some of the rigging. I'm not adding all of the rigging. It's kind of a representation of the rigging and not a complete rigging. That it is so difficult to find a good source of information on this one. This was my at least attempt to give a representation of some rigging. And I'm pleased, at least, with it. So, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this one. Please follow along by subscribing to the channel. And I do appreciate any feedback from you guys. So, until next time, stay safe. Bye for now.